Hello, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And this week, Source wanted me to talk to you about divine money. It's kind of a weird term, but that's what I got. So I would first like to preface what I'm going to talk about with a little bit of my own story. As you may know, I am a medical doctor, and I remember growing up, the thought and belief was that if you're a medical doctor, you've got it made. You know, you can be rich and you can be wealthy and all these things. And when I was growing up, I learned some negative money beliefs. And yeah, it's interesting how one child can be very different than another with regards to money beliefs. Even though we're in the same family, right? So you can't blame your family per se for everything or even anything. We do choose and perceive things the way we perceive things. So a lot of my Chinese friends would go on to go to medical school. Many of them were older than I was. So I thought, well, you know, I'm going to be a little bit of a mini rebel and I'm going to go to optometry school. At least it would fulfill what my mother really wanted, which was for me to be in my own business. She said, don't be an employee. Dad and I are both employees and, you know, we're kind of like pressed under the thumb and get told what to do. And it's better to be your own boss. Unfortunately, they didn't know how to model that because they weren't their own boss. So I had all the same money beliefs in a way that they had growing up to some degree. So I went to my favorite doctor, my ophthalmologist, Dr. Sheldon, and I said, I want to go to optometry school. And I, visited the school. It was like the only English, language school for optometry. It looked beautiful. And, in Ontario, it was just gorgeous. And I was like, oh, I could see myself there. And I felt very, I don't know, like it was some prestigious honor to be accepted to the school because there were very few students accepted to the school each year. So I was all excited. I was telling Dr. Sheldon about this. And he says, how are your grades? I said, they're excellent. And he said, go to medical school. You'll be too bored being an optometrist. And it just deflated me. I was like, oh, okay. He was my favorite doctor. And so I did. I went into medical school and I thought, well, you do love science, Karen. I'm like, yeah, I love science. And you do love taking care of people. Yes, I'm really good at that. So I thought, yeah, I'll go and be a doctor like almost every one of my other Chinese friends, were. And so I had this belief that, I should make decent money, right? Like everybody said. So, however, that didn't turn out to be true. And you might be wondering if you're not a medical doctor. If you are, you know why. But if you aren't a medical doctor, you're like, wait a second. Medical doctor, cha-ching, like how are you not rich being a medical doctor? Like seriously. Well, here's the thing is I adopted certain beliefs and energies and probably inherited some energies as well that create a lot of money blocks and a lot of, let's say, negative money beliefs. And I literally like sabotaged myself, but I didn't know that I did, right? So for example, I chose medically underserved areas to practice in. Now you go, well, what's the difference? I'm like, well, it's not city medicine. In a medically underserved area, you are treating much sicker, I found out, people. They're sicker at much younger ages, and you can't see as many patients per hour. And I, guess what, became an employee. Yes, my then husband moved to the United States, and it was very common, and is very common, for medical doctors to be an employee, not their own boss, interestingly, in the US, which is different from Canada. And yeah, although I, love my work, just where I was, I, drove 2.5 to 2.5 hours a day to get to and from work, being on call, sometimes having to drive, 3 hours a day to get back to the hospital. And it was, it was tough. It was, physically tough to do that kind of job. And I didn't see enough patients per hour to warrant the big, the salary. And the hospital even said, look, how come when you're in Lake Placid, you can see 24 people a day, and when you are in Keysville, you can only see 14 or 15. I said, because the people in Keysville are sicker. And the hospital's like, well, we're just going to cut your pay. So I'm thinking, okay, so first of all, I don't earn as much as my medical colleagues, especially the guys. The guys don't seem to have a problem with saying no for some reason. And yeah, so I was like, okay, so you're going to cut my income 40% because I don't see enough patients. This isn't working for me. Well, lucky for me, I had an escape route. I ended up in LA, UCLA as an assistant professor, and that was pretty good cha-ching, until it wasn't. Again, being an employee somehow manifested that there was some political strife within UCLA, and our nice little nest egg of, what we were getting was out the door. So I realized at some point that I was so in debt. And yes, medical school is very expensive. And many of my medical school friends, especially in the US, don't get the kind of, support, if you will, from the government as in Canada. So they were a lot more in debt than me. And well into decades into their practice, they still have not paid off their student loans. Just go ahead and ask any doctor, okay? Just do a poll. Any doctor you see, when did they pay off their student loans? Just ask them that. Okay, they're willing to tell you. It'd be very interesting for you to know. So people assume that doctors just make good money, and therefore, you can afford whatever. And yeah, it was sometimes doctor lifestyle is like, hey, yes, you can get the best food and vacations and all that kind of stuff. Little do people know that there's like, $60,000 in debt, right? But they're trying to live the life. And so there's a lot of things that we don't know about other people, and we assume that they're rich, they're blah, 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 and life must be easy. But here's the thing. We all who are not currently, wealthy and happy and successful and healthy, we usually have some sort of blocks. And sometimes it's not, emotional blocks. Sometimes it's not mental blocks. Sometimes it's a mix of a whole bunch of blocks, including energetic, even dimensional, even spiritual blocks. And that's where Topican Healing and what I do, we specialize in those aspects, right? But even if you take a look at belief blocks, I had the belief that, money wasn't important, the belief that love is more important than money. I had a belief that, rich people were, in Chinese is achat, which means kind of like uppity, so I looked down really, in a way. That sounds hilarious, I know. That rich people were greedy, and these are things that I kind of grew up with believing. And so I did my best subconsciously to get rid of money. Yep. And in fact, one of the things as I was working on this money issue for myself is I came across a book from a Canadian, T. Harv Eker, and it was called The Millionaire Mind. And the word mind really got me to read the book because it was all about these negative money beliefs. And OMG, I think I had pretty much all of them. And at the end of the book, it said, hey, come to our 3-day event for free and let's get rid of these money beliefs. And at that time, I didn't do a lot of energy medicine and things like that. So I thought, well, that sounds great. But I hummed and hawed about going because I couldn't afford to go. But then I thought, well, but if I don't get rid of these money beliefs, then I can't afford to continue living either. Like, what? Anyway, so I was like, okay, where's the credit card, right? So that is one thing that is helpful about being an MD, even if you have no money. The word MD on the end of your name does get you credit. Now, that can be an Achilles heel as well, because you can overspend, which many doctors do. So, cha-ching on the credit card, and I went, and it was transformational. The Millionaire, 3-day event, Millionaire Mindset 3-day event was really amazing. And I learned so much and deleted a lot of money beliefs and began that journey of, stretching myself to realize, oh, there's another negative belief, there's another negative belief. And, and it's been a really, really interesting process. And why I'm telling you all of this is because right now, the way it is in the spiritual alignment of things, the ascension process, is that it's becoming, believe it or not, easier to manifest what it is you desire and want. I know it doesn't look like that on the outside with the pandemic and people losing their jobs and all that kind of stuff, right? And there is, like last week, I talked about divine design, blah, 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 blah. Divine discernment, part 2. Divine design training is a training of mine. Anyway, so divine, there's a lot of divine stuff. Divine discernment, part 2, about how to quickly figure out if an action is in alignment with what is for your highest and greatest good. And so today's video is on a similar line when it comes to divine money or money. So you may have heard money is a form of energy and energy exchange, and that was really helpful for me because I demonized money before. So when I saw it as exchange for value, that helped me a lot because a lot of us healers have very low and negative money beliefs. And it's perpetrated by society. Society says, you know, if you're a healer, you should do things for free or cheap, you know, because it is healing after all, right? But if you're, you know, a NBA star or a baseball star or hockey star or whatever, it's fine to get 7 million, you know. And yeah, you're maybe not helping anyone, but you're entertaining a bunch of people, right? So, you know, it's about our societal values as well that we've adopted. So it sometimes feels like it is a big mountain to climb as a healer. And I can't tell you how many healers I know that are broke, that are sick, you know, and we have similar money beliefs over the years that we are healing. And we often will judge a healer who is successful, okay, as being someone who cheated, who lied. It's all about the money. They don't care about people, right? That's the bias. So if those of us that are on, you know, on the path of light, if we can't figure out our money issues, because money is to some degree in our current reality still a form of power and a form of manipulation in the negative sense, right? So if we can't get our money shit together, excuse the language, okay, who's going to do it? So it's very important for those of us on the path of light. Now, it doesn't mean you have to, you know, have 10 cars or 5 vacation homes or any of that stuff. It depends, and not that there's anything wrong with that, okay? But I think that those of us that are in the, you know, that ideal of joy, peace, harmony for all, we have this belief that somehow we're going to turn into monsters if we have money or something. Does that happen to people? I suppose. I mean, you know, I would say that there are some very, let's just say, famous people, some in the healing realm, some in the spiritual teaching, training, mentoring realm, who other people have judged have sold out. Sold out to big pharma or sold out to government or sold out to whoever, right? I'm not going to judge that. I just know that that has been going around. And my sense is that when you have a lot, there's a lot more to lose. And so people can go into fear about what it is that they might lose. And this part segues into this whole thing about divine money. So so there are a few of my friends, colleagues, who are very much into you know, collecting, buying, purchasing silver and gold. You know, a lot of the truthers out there are very much into that. They said these are hard assets. You know, you don't want your money floating around in some, you know, Federal Reserve bank somewhere that can poof disappear tomorrow, or you know, be in Canada where they can just freeze your accounts, you know, because you donated $25 to the Freedom Convoy or something like that, right? So I get that, you know, and the, you know, issues about digital currency and the scariness supposedly of that. Again, just one day, oh, you've been a bad girl. No money for you. It's gone out of your digital wallet, right? So people are like, hey, hard assets. And you know what? My reaction, and I was looking for actual blocks, okay, myself, but my reaction was like, you know, And part of that might be my wealth dynamics profile. I'm a dynamo, meaning I'm in the wood, element. I'm not in the tempo element like an accumulator, and that's their thing is they accumulate, so they're good at saving money, things like that. Dynamos, not so much, but not so good at saving money. So I know that part about me. And just the thought of, buying gold and silver. Now I've exposed to a lot of gold and silver, like, because I'm Chinese and they like jewelry and they give jewelry to children, right? So I don't even know where it is. It's like in a box somewhere. Don't tell my mom. It's like somewhere in my house. I don't know. I hope. Anyway, so it's like, I don't care. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just that it's not negative. So I don't think it's bad to like collect silver, gold, or anything like that. It just, for me, the feeling in my body is like, that movie, Meh. Is that the name of the movie? Yeah, there's a movie named Meh, right? The little emoticon that's like Meh. Anyway, so yeah, that's what it's like for me. And I just thought, well, why is it like for me, right? The spiritual investigator wants to know. And yes, there's that personality profile, and some people are, much more resonating with accumulation and savings, and other people with spending, like myself, and creating. But I think it goes beyond that, and that's why I think God wanted me to talk to you about divine money, because at the end of the day, for me, if I were to go on that path of accumulating gold and silver and buying that up, what would be the energetic feeling or intention in my body when I do that? And it's going to be different for everyone. But for me, I'd be doing it out of a sense of fear or a sense of needing security. And for some reason, that is not motivation enough. Or that isn't the motivation, or that isn't the feeling that resonates with me. I guess that's a better explanation. So, well-meaning friends, family, whatever, they're like, oh, you got to do this, you got to check this out, or go here and be a member and buy this or get that. It's a really great idea to do that. And I'm like, I just don't want to do it. And remember last week, divine discernment, it was all about the feeling, right? All about the feeling and how it feels in the body. And so it's not as much resistance, and I used to have resistance for sure. And I might feel a little bit of it, but I'm not feeling that as much because I used to joke. Gold? Can't eat gold. I can have a barrel of gold, and if nobody takes the gold, there's no food. Like, give me a chicken. Let's trade chickens. Like, eggs, chickens, lettuce. Like, I can't eat gold. The funny thing is, put my foot in my mouth now, right? Because yeah, you can eat gold. Monoatomic gold. Yeah, I think you can roll over sharing that. So I can't say that anymore. You can't eat gold. Yeah. So what do I spend my money on if I'm not a good accumulator like that and don't choose to be? I spend my money on myself. Sounds terrible or good, depending on your perspective. I invest in myself. I invest in my learning. I invest in my growth. I invest in my spirituality. And no, that does not look like buying gold or silver. That's just me. I invest in my team. I invest in systems. I invest in things that is going to get my message out there in a bigger way to help more people. And that feels good to me. To me, in my body, it feels free. It feels bigger. So the whole thing about divine money is around feeling. So it's not about the form, but it's about the feeling. So don't get upset if you're trying to advise someone about what they should or shouldn't do with their money. Yes, they may have money blocks, you might have different blocks, whatever. But it's really, at the end of the day, that discernment is really about feeling in the body. Is there resonance? Isn't there resonance? Now, the logic would say, okay, that's left brain only, right? Would say, well, you got to do, you got to invest in hard assets because of da 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 da, and it can be out of your digital blah blah blah, and right? Yeah, That's probably true from a left brain point of view. But when you have the whole brain and the body involved and the energetics, we're talking about quantum, right? We are talking about changing and updating reality. We're talking about quantum jumping to a different reality. The reality that I live in is the one there's peace, joy, harmony, and prosperity for all. How that looks like in the details of it, I don't know yet, but I know the feeling of that. I know the feeling of that. So that's my divine money blueprint. So feel within your body. That's my advice. Okay, I'm not giving you financial advice. What I'm giving you advice is feel it through and filter it through your being, your body, what is right for you. You don't know what's happening tomorrow and the next day, whatever. You might think you do. There are other highly evolved cultures that don't use money at all. Yep, and they have a very peaceful, prosperous, harmonious society. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't have money. Right now, there probably needs to be some sort of stepping stone to exchange value, right, for what we call money. And that's how I am making these decisions. See if that resonates with you. So my advice is not financial advice to you. My advice to you is listen to your body, listen to your intuition on these different things. And don't give it up to somebody else to make the decision for you. That's very important. You must take personal responsibility for that. Yeah. So I'd love some comments. If you want to post in the comments, you know, how this resonated with you, or maybe it doesn't resonate with you. And you know what? If you think about, you know, investing in gold and silver and you get a big wave of, woo, yeah, it's great. I can't wait to see it. I want it, you know, in my hands, whatever. Good for you. You know what I mean? So you've aligned and that excites you. But for me, it's like, meh, right? So that I know it's not the right choice for me. Let's do a Topican healing activation. So in today's Topican healing activation, what we're going to do is intend to release and remove, delete any blocks, money blocks, anything preventing you from connecting to divine money that is available to heal right now. I know there's many, many layers. Sometimes you need to have the aha before things heal, but at least what can release right now without all of that? Let's do that. And the second thing is let's download a positive morphic field or blueprint for a healthy relationship with divine money. Because there, you know, it's an energy. So it's a relationship is very, very important. So we want the highest quality of relationship. So if you would like to receive this Topican healing activation, what I suggest is that you feel your body right now, where it is in space. If it's safe for you to do so, you can close your eyes and you can get into the stillness. I usually do it through stillness, through observing internal movement, which I teach. You can rub your hands together really, 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 really fast. Close your eyes. Feel the energy tingling or the vibes in your hands. And just imagine it going through the body and just make the intention, yes, I wish to receive today. What I'm going to do now is do the Topican healing directive. And your job is just to pay attention to your body as you receive those energies and those frequencies to heal those things. And I would love for you to report afterwards in the comments what it felt like. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. I now command that any blocks to wealth, abundance, money, anything that is for your highest and greatest good, whether they be emotional blocks, mental blocks, energetic, spiritual, dimensional, any others we don't know about, it's now commanded these be removed, dissolved, and uncreated, and resolved fully with ease, speed, and grace in the highest and best way in all timelines where you exist. I now command that a positive morphic field of a 100% healthy relationship between you and divine money be downloaded and activated in you and all versions of you as allowed with ease, speed, and grace in the highest and best way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it. Okay, so if you have your eyes closed, you can open them. Go ahead and post in the comments what that felt like in the body to receive. And I would love to hear any ahas that you had after what I said earlier about divine money and feeling. So remember, the body, the feeling, very important to stay in alignment and discernment for what is for your highest and greatest good. Now, speaking of blacks, my guest on Monday's Light Warrior Radio show, Adele Spragon, she is an expert in brain repatterning. Brain repatterning. Yes, that's how you say it. And so we talked about in our interview, this is recorded, how people procrastinate and why they procrastinate and how that is related to this brain pattern. Not just procrastination, but also like overwhelming anxiety. So there's so many highly sensitive people who get into overwhelming anxiety. So learn about this brain repatterning so that now, with the brain repatterning, you can be in a place where you take action with greater ease. Because that's one of the things that's important in terms of, health and wealth and money, is there is a form of action, a worldly action, ideally centered around your true being, who you really are, and the vibration you're resonating, and taking action from that place. I called it divine action. So we're going to talk about, anxiety, overwhelm, procrastination, what the brain patterns are, how to repattern them, how you can release things like sugar addiction. And she has some pretty great stories about that. The difference between trying to muscle your way to what you want versus effortlessly just attracting the way you want. And she has a book called Shift, 4 Steps to Personal Empowerment, that you can actually get for free. You just pay for shipping. Highly recommend it. Check it out. So the brain patterns are like old, like software, that's in our like bodies, if you will. And we can actually take the old software out and insert the new upgraded software so things run more smoothly and gracefully. How cool is that, right? So join me on Monday at 12 noon Eastern Daylight for the airing of this pre-recorded show with Adele. I think you're really going to enjoy it. We really enjoyed each other. So that's going to be super fun, and would love your comments as well as what you thought about the show. So some cool stuff I want to share with you. I have a video testimonial contest going on. Actually, it is for Topocan Healing. So if you have bought any of my programs in the past, whether it be self-healing programs or the Topocan level 1 or 2 training, and you've had a great result, whether that be, decreased pain, decreased anxiety, overwhelm, a shift in your overall health and well-being, relationships, whatever it is, if you would like to be in this contest, I'll put the link near this video. So what are the prizes? So the first 10, so top 10, get a baby dragon ring. So these baby dragon rings are adjustable, and they've been infused with the Ascension 3 frequencies. So the frequencies of Ascension 1 and 2. 1 takes away negative energy. 2, you can ask it to download positive energies to you. It also has the frequencies of Hiddenite Gem, as well as the Flower of Life and the Schumann resonance. So it does help with EMF to some degree, although the ring's very small. So that's what's infused in that ring. And I only have 10. So the top 10 will get a baby dragon ring. Or if you prefer, you can choose the second place prize, which is an Ascension 3 bracelet with all those healing frequencies as well. And we have a 21-day course that goes with those, in case you don't know, on how to use them in more like a magical wand, So I will put that link for the contest. Do you have to do a video? No, you don't. However, video is very powerful. So those that do decide to do a video will get more points, if you will, in terms of, top 10, top 20, etc. But if you want to write out your testimonial, you can do that. And if you do both, even better. So it's karencan.com/contest. And that contest closes at the end of March. So we will be shipping out the prizes in mid-April. So a couple other things I want to share with you in announcements is that the Healthy Habits, Healthy Life series is ongoing. The last one I recorded is all about stillness on the fly. So how do you meditate without having to sit there and meditate and what difference that can make in your life? And somebody did comment after watching it, oh my gosh, I got to get back into this because, our minds think that we have to sit there and meditate for a long time to get the benefits, but you actually don't. You can actually do it for seconds at a time, and it can totally transform your life and your ability to manifest, which is going to help with the money thing too, let me tell you. And also I want to share with you an episode from Global Network News called The Think Tank. And it is conversations around some, previously or currently censored topics. Um, and, one of the questions I was asked by Stefan Rao, who interviewed me, was why is it that doctors say they believe in evidence-based medicine, but there's so much evidence that they are acting contrary to? So if you're interested in knowing the answer to that, I will post the direct link to the show on bandtogether.tube right next to this video, so you can check that out and let me know what you think about that as well. And as far as upcoming events, the UL Telesummit is in full swing, and I hope you have marked April 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern for the interview that Darius and I are doing together. It's called How to Heal Your Many Lives, the Timeline Convergence, and the Evolution of Humanity. So we're going to talk about spiritual Faraday cages, monoatomic metamorphosis, and all sorts of really, really cool things. And I will be launching a brand new program called Transdimensional Alchemy on that day. So if you're wanting to check out what is that, and also get first dibs on it as well, because as per these telesummits, I usually reduce the price massively for the launch, and then after the launch it goes back up on my website at the regular price. So check it out, and I will put the link near here. If you have not registered yet for UL Revolution Telesummit, you'll definitely want to do that now, so you'll get all that information on April 11th for the call-in numbers and everything like that. We'll be doing mini healings, group healings, and I hope to see you there. So that's in a couple weeks. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and I want to thank you so much for being part of this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest. If you are on any of the platforms, go ahead and like this, subscribe, and also share it with whoever you think might need to hear this message and who resonates with it. Until next time, lots of love, and bye for now.